Tonight we investigate the competition to design a Spitfire memorial for Southampton, why the winner wasn't on the published shortlist and what happened to the people who were.
I took one look at it and was absolutely flabbergasted. I hadn't seen it before.
I'm Jon Cuthill and this is Inside Out South. Last year, 315 people entered a competition to design a memorial for the world's most famous plane, the Spitfire. Young or old, amateur or professional, anyone could come up with an idea for a huge monument which would put Southampton on the map as the birthplace of a plane which helped Britain win the war. People sent in designs from across the country, and in mid-September a shortlist of 6 was displayed at the Solent Sky Museum and published in the local paper and Sunday Telegraph. Among those shortlisted was Sir Charles Knowles, a leading London architect.
I was one of the 6 published shortlist. That's great. Saw the other designs and thought we were in with a chance.
The field narrows, and it narrowed to 6 of us. And that was very exciting because you entertained the idea of potentially winning this.
I was thrilled. I thought fantastic. I think if you manage to kind of claw yourself into the shortlist, then it's all to play for.
6 finalists, but there could only be one winner. On November the 7th, that winner was announced. Australian Nick Hancock's elegant design was chosen. Southampton was a step nearer to getting a memorial which had been promised for over 3 decades.
Elated is the word. To be honest, very proud because there were so many entries, and to be selected, well, to design a monument to R.J. Mitchell for starters, let alone Spitfire, well, obviously, but to me it's about R.J. Mitchell. You know, designing a monument for a designer for something that he designed, you know, you can't really get any better than that. So actually, yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Even the Prime Minister joined the scramble to congratulate the winner. But hang on a minute, let's have a look at that shortlist again. Definitely 6 finalists, but out of the blue, a secret 7th had won.
I took one look at it and was absolutely flabbergasted. I hadn't seen it before.
That's it. I just couldn't believe it, and I was just absolutely confused because you get so aware of the other finalists, and then suddenly, where on earth does this one come from?
Part of the reason it mattered to the 6 published finalists was that they'd been invited to produce extra information to support their designs. They say they did so with an eye on the published competition, unaware that a different design was in the running.
It should have been communicated to the other 6 finalists so that we were all equally informed to progress that last second stage to the competition, where we were competing against each other, or that's how it felt. We were kind of flying in formation, trying to do the best we could for our individual designs. But to suddenly find that actually there's another entrant with a stealth entry in effect was a shock to the system. I mean, nothing less.
Where did it all go wrong? Let's rewind and start at the very beginning. So, here's the timeline. Closing date of the competition, August the 9th. Judging date, the 14th of September, when all 315 entrants are put on display at the Solent Sky Museum and the judges drop by during the day to pick their favourite. The next day, the 15th of September, 6 shortlisted finalists are put on display at the museum. And just 4 days after that, on the 19th, the Southern Daily Echo, whose editor is on the Spitfire Tribute Board and presumably had a vote, published the shortlist of 6. But 2 days after that, on the 21st of September, the minutes of a meeting of a Spitfire Tribute Board agenda read...
AJ presented an additional concept by the architect, Nick Hancock.
Now, nearly a week on, 5 days to be precise, the Sunday Telegraph publishes an article with colour pictures of just 6 finalists and no mention of Nick Hancock. And on the 29th of September, a Monday to be precise, an email goes out to the 6 finalists asking them for more information to support a technical review. The closing date for that, October the 8th, a date which will feature more in our puzzle. Since the surprise result, 5 of the finalists have got together to try to find out how someone who wasn't on the original shortlist won. Recently, on their 3rd attempt, a Freedom of Information request produced the minutes of 2 tribute board meetings, which showed that Nick Hancock's design was added to the shortlist a week after the judging. The chairman of the board told us that the 7th entry had been chosen on judging day.
The judging for the day, if you like, was carrying on from the morning right through to the evening, because members of the board were going to view the designs at different times and then register their preferences. And it wasn't until all the preferences were counted that, of course, the short list was 7. But unfortunately, that wasn't communicated until something like 24 hours later. So the delay in confirming the 7 simply was that I wanted to make sure that all members were aware of why there was this delay, and if they were all happy with it, that it would proceed. And it was unanimous that the 7 should be the successful shortlist, which included, of course, Nick Hancock.
That'll be a unanimous vote of 5-3 then, as recorded in their minutes. But even after they voted unanimously to add Nick's design, they continued to publicise a shortlist of just 6. The first time publicly Nick's design was ever mentioned was when it won.
I can't believe that a board who's made up of experienced people in local government, and including the editor of the Daily Echo and the leader of your Southampton Council, I can't believe they didn't realise that there'd be a problem. And I find that, and I just find that baffling that they couldn't see that there'd be a problem.
I don't think any one of us feels comfortable about what's happened. We want to feel happy about the outcome. We want to celebrate that something, respectable and appropriate goes up. In terms of the monument, but the way I feel at the moment, I feel that I can't really regard the result of this competition as being something that we can all get behind right now.
But as the pieces of the puzzle start to come together, there's another issue. The competition brief sent out by the Solent Sky Museum. They say size isn't everything, but when you're running a Spitfire competition, apparently it is.
The brief, such as it was, that we all were aiming at, clearly asked for a 3 times full-size Spitfire, and yet the winning entry is a 1.5 times full-size Spitfire.
The brief was very prescriptive. I mean, you've got a problem of putting a Spitfire 3 times its normal size, 180 foot in the air, on water with a wingspan of 100 foot, which is the size of an Lancaster, without the whole thing falling over, and looking as if it's in flight, which is a really difficult one to try and not just to stick it up on a pole.
The competition stipulates that you wanted a plane 3 times life size. Everyone did that.
Up to 3 times.
Well, no, 3 times. 3 times.
Up to 3 times.
I talked to the guys and they're all saying 3 times.
Right. You should read the specification, it might help you.
So we did, and here it is, in bold, calling for a monument over 3 times actual size.
If it could have been any size, we would have done it smaller, and it would have given us more room for manoeuvre in how we designed it.
A 1.5 times Spitfire is half the physical dimensions that the other candidates were aiming for, which presents a quarter of the surface area and 1/8 the volume of the aeroplane that is suspended. And that's a very different engineering task. And the engineering assessment and the feasibility at Southampton University would have been judging, in effect, 2 very different competitions.
Talking of the engineering assessment, remember that date, October the 8th. That was the deadline for the 6 finalists to hand in additional information ahead of a feasibility study by the University of Southampton. And that meant the pressure was on.
Instantly, you drop everything, and we had a week to produce the work. So everything got taken off my drawing board.
But as they struggled to meet the deadline, it appears the main technical review had already happened.
Well, the minutes state that the appraisal was carried out on the 5th, which was 3 days before information was due to arrive.
Well, I'm not aware exactly of the date at which the technical assessment was made.
5th of
except say
October.
Except say that if in time for the Spitfire Tribute meeting, the officers had to give us some kind of early assessment of what they felt could be seen as feasible and not, then they would have done so in advance of that meeting.
A board member has confirmed the technical review happened on the 5th, but claims no significant information came in after that. But the finalists tell us they worked up to the deadline, one even driving his work to Southampton on the 8th.
Well, we did an awful lot of work. We did an awful lot of work. And if that is true, then it was never seen, if that was true, which wasted all our time.
The Spitfire Foundation has no legal obligation to pick a winner from its published shortlist, and Nick Hancock's chosen design has been widely applauded. Councillor Hanides says most of the finalists have told him they are now happy, but the published finalists tell us that is not the case.
It's a competition. By the nature of competitions, we have winners and losers. But it's whether the competition has been held on a level playing field, isn't it? And that's the key question. Do you think it has?
No.
The very fact I entered the competition as the other finalists, I'm sure as the winner did, we understand that the Spitfire is probably one of those few, very rare points of human endeavour where the planets align and you get an inspirational designer that against the odds managed to create an aircraft that is acknowledged to be in effect aeronautical beauty, plus the energy and spirit of the people in Southampton whose factory was bombed, who rebuilt and managed to keep the production of the Spitfire going, that turned up and took part in the Battle of Britain in 1940 along with the hurricane and did effect the change of the war. I mean, it's got everything going for it. And Southampton has this fantastic ace in its pack that it has not played to date. And get it right. You know, that's the overwhelming kind of gut feel that you end up kind of hanging on to. Just go away and get it right.